Mashed Potatoes with Sour Cream by Arik Blumstein. There once was a man who had a boy, but the boy only wanted to eat mashed potatoes with sour cream. And the man said, "But fried chicken is very healthy." But the boy said, "I only want mashed potatoes with sour cream." And the man said, "You need to eat other things too. Otherwise, you won't grow." And the boy said, "Mashed potatoes with sour cream." The man thought, and he thought a bit more, and he said, "All right, you will get mashed potatoes with sour cream for lunch tomorrow." And indeed, for lunch the next day, the boy got a mountain of mashed potatoes with a container of sour cream next to it. But there was something else next to the mashed potatoes, a piece of hot fried chicken. The boy looked very closely at the fried chicken and said, "Only mashed potatoes with sour cream." He moved the fried chicken aside so that it wouldn't touch the mashed potatoes. The next day, the boy came to lunch and sat down at the table, and then the man called from the kitchen, "The mashed potatoes and sour cream will be there in a moment." And then the man came out of the kitchen holding a plate of mashed potatoes with a container of sour cream on it in one hand and a plate of macaroni in the other hand. He put the plate with the mashed potatoes and sour cream in front of the boy, as well as the plate of macaroni. "Bon appetit," the man said. The boy looked at the plate of macaroni and then gulped down all of the mashed potatoes and sour cream. The next day, the boy came to the table, and this time there was a huge plate waiting for him, with a mountain of mashed potatoes on it and a container of sour cream next to it. The boy looked all around, but he did not see any other plate with any other type of food on it. He started to eat as fast as he could, but before he could eat the second bite, the man came out of the kitchen with a big fat hamburger on a round bun, with mayonnaise, lettuce, tomato, and onion under the hamburger. The man put the hamburger on the table and said, "Oops, I forgot something." And he went back into the kitchen and came out again with the top half of the bun. He covered the hamburger and said, "Bon appetit." The boy looked at the hamburger and said, "No, only mashed potatoes with sour cream." But he did not finish all of the sour cream, and it really bothered him. The next day, the boy peeked at the table from a distance and saw a plate with mashed potatoes and a container of sour cream next to it. He slowly got closer to the table and looked around. This time, the man was standing in the living room, and he did not seem to be making anything else in the kitchen. The boy sat at the table and said quietly to himself, "Mashed potatoes with sour cream. Only mashed potatoes with sour cream." And before he could start eating, the man said, "I bought you something." And he went to the table on the porch and got a hot dog in a bun with mustard and ketchup, and he placed it next to the mashed potatoes. "If you like, you can taste it." But the boy was stubborn because mashed potatoes with sour cream is a principle. He ate all of the mashed potatoes and sour cream, and he did not even look at the hot dog. Actually, he did not clean his plate entirely, but he did not want to talk about it. The next day, the boy came to the table, and as you can probably guess, there were mashed potatoes and sour cream on it. The boy sat down and looked around. The man was lying on the couch reading a newspaper. The boy went to the kitchen and looked at the stove, but there was no frying pan and no pot warming up. He looked in the refrigerator, but there was no box waiting to be put in the microwave. He went to the living room and secretly looked at the man. The man was still lying on the couch reading the newspaper. The boy looked at the man very carefully and thought, "He really seems to be busy reading the newspaper." "Ah," the boy said to himself, "I know." And he went to the porch. He looked in all directions, on the chairs, on the table, and under the table, but there was no plate of food hiding anywhere. "All right, there's nothing. The coast is clear," he said to himself. He returned to the table and started eating. He lifted his fork with some mashed potatoes on it and looked at the man. The man was really busy reading the newspaper, and he did not seem to be making any fried chicken, macaroni, hamburgers, and not even a hot dog. "What nerve!" thought the boy. "Hey, mister! I want fried chicken or macaroni or a hamburger or a hot dog," he yelled loudly. The man moved the newspaper a bit to the side, looked at the boy, and said, "It's all right. I ordered a pizza." The boy put down the fork with the mashed potatoes, pushed the sour cream aside, and said, "Well, why didn't you say so to begin with?" P.S. When I wrote this story many years ago, I used to hurt animals. Quite simply, I ate them. Today, I no longer eat meat, eggs, and milk. I therefore recommend imagining that all the foods in the story are vegetarian, but still very, very yummy. Arik.